I'm here, guys. Good. All right. So I'm here today to talk about entrepreneurship. But I think so many people, when they talk about entrepreneurship, they don't show you what entrepreneurship actually looks like. So they recount maybe a past story today. So I'm going to try to do something a little bit innovative and also a little bit risky. I haven't done this before. Can you guys bear with me in this experiment? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and do this, okay? So we're going to do an audacious goal. This is going to be the best Richard Newton series lecture ever. So if we can go to the next slide.
Oh, I see. I'm doing the, okay, great.
Yeah, okay. This is my goal, to build the best Richard Newton series lecture ever, okay? But I can't do it by myself. I can't do it alone. I need everyone here to help me out, okay? Can you guys help me? Yes. Let me really hear it. Can you guys really help me? Yes. All right, fantastic. Let's get the ball rolling. I'll show you how that's done, all right? So, let's go to the next slide, please.
Sorry. Like for the first time, we have to turn the mic down.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. If you were here before, last time I came here, I'm very honored to actually speak here second time. I understand that doesn't happen very often, but
no,
last time, okay.
You're the only one.
Oh, yes! Okay. Yes, I win. So last time I came here, I talked about my 5 pivots from Berkeley to Bali, and we'll quickly click through some of those, yeah? So I started in the Bay Area, and then I went to travel the world, and after that, I fell in love with my wife in Bali. She was working in a store, and she seduced me, and I became her slave for the next 20 years. No, we have a great marriage. So that's my wife, and that's the first moment where we met. And I was traveling to Carnival, Thailand, Borobudur, and that was my stage from traveler to lover. Next. Then I went from being a jobless dad to being a salaryman. And then next, I got my dream job at Airbnb, and then I became an entrepreneur. Okay, so that's a quick summary, visually, of my life story. But let's not go into the past, let's go into the future, yeah? Okay, what are we going to do today?
I know, I'm not a very good banner.
Okay, so this is our mission today, and this is important because we're going to come back to it. Our mission as a class is to build the best lecture. Now, here's what I think the metrics of the best lecture are going to be. It needs to be innovative, and it needs to be helpful. Next. And if it works, then maybe I'll be a third-time speaker, and I'll be invited to speak again, okay? Next. And hopefully, I'll earn better reviews than your past Tinder dates. Okay, all right. That's why I work as a CEO, not as a stand-up comedian. All right. Okay, ready to begin? Are we all ready? Good, let's go ahead and get started here. So here's the thing. I'm really here also to learn. That's why I took my entrance in the seat as a student, because I think it's as important for me, being a 40-something-year-old person, to know how everyone here thinks, how you guys go through your processes, okay? And this is important because if you're an entrepreneur, you should assume less about what you know and ask and find out what your audience, your customers, your users actually know, okay? So we're gonna learn together, yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Next slide. What? Why is that up there again? Okay, all right, let's begin. Okay, so here's the commitment. This is important because if we're going to go and build the best lecture together, we need to commit to a few foundational principles. And here's the first principle. You'll agree to give me honest feedback whenever I ask you a question, okay? So if I point to you, and I say, give me feedback, you'll agree to do it, okay? Commitment number 1. Next. Don't take my teaching style in the wrong way. I know some people don't like being cold called out to actually speak in front of an audience, but I do think that this actually simulates a pretty good approximation for what it's actually like to be an entrepreneur. Because when you're an entrepreneur, it's not every day that you get to actually be in front of all your users, in fact. But if you do have an opportunity like that, you should not squander it, you should take advantage of it, okay? Next, All right, and next up, first step, I need some leaders. So I'm going to put up a job ad for this lecture to look for leadership candidates, okay? We're going to hire some leaders out of this audience, all right? Next. All right, take a look. These are the 3 types of people I need, okay? If you think you can fulfill one of these particular functions as a hipster, as a hustler, or as a hacker, please come down here. Or please just raise your hand. Raise your hand so I can see who you are. All right, nobody wants to be the first. Okay, so this is where I have to go into the random questions now. Let's go to, let's say, you, sir. Okay, what's your name? Paul. Okay, do you know anybody here in your class, after having been a student here, who's good at design? Who are they? All right, the friend sitting next, what's his name?
Avon.
Avon, okay, come on forward. Avon, give Avon a clap, yeah? He's gonna apply for a job. Avon is going to be a representative for the hipster in the room, okay? Thank you very much. Come on, Avon, just stand right here, and we will essentially bring you up to the front. Okay, great. Now, let's go to another person. You, sir, with the black iPad there. What's your name? Yuko, okay. Yuko, do you know anybody who could get half a sprout to fill out a form before class? Anybody who's especially persuasive in this class? What's his name? Okay, Lauren, come on up. You're going to be our hustler, okay? Give Lauren a hand here. Give him a hand. All right. Remember, I told you guys I can't do this by myself, so this is going to be my executive team, okay? We got one person who designs, one person who hustles, all right? Great suit. He looks more like the speaker than I do, in fact, yeah? Okay, all right, one last person. We need somebody who's technically gifted. We need somebody who is good at using, let's say, code, data, all this stuff to generate insights. You, sir, you got that bright look. What's your name? Okay, are you the person I'm looking for, or do you want to nominate somebody else?
You are the person.
You got VS Code open.
Okay, come on forward. Give him a hand. All right, come on forward. Okay, so we have our team now. Step on foot. Okay, so we have 3 people whom we need in order to build a product, right? And our product is going to be the best lecture ever, okay? We've got a hacker, we got a hustler, and we got a hipster here who are going to help us create some awesome lecture, okay? An awesome lecture. You guys ready for the next step? Okay, good. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to go and really dig into this question. This is the focal question, okay? What topic would actually make this the best Richard Newton lecture series? What topic do all of you want us to design? What do you want us to know about? Okay? All right. So this is where I go to my team. Okay? All right. Does anybody want to throw out some ideas right now? Just raise your hand and name a topic. Yes? Okay, over there.
Maybe how can we improve the experience of Airbnb users?
Okay, want to improve the experience of Airbnb users. Let's go to the hipster first. Could you go on the chalkboard and just write down improving Airbnb experience users? Okay, great, fantastic. You have some feedback. Yes, sir.
For like a topic for the lecture.
Topic for the lecture, yes.
What is like the best way to define?
What is the best way to define like a good life? Like, should you go work a tech job, make a bunch of money, or should you like go sail the world and drop out and then like figure it out later? Like, what is a good life?
Okay. Excellent. What's your name? Josh. Okay, Josh. Okay. I know Josh. Okay. Josh wants to also ask about how to make a good life. To our hustler over there, sir, could we get you to write how to improve your life? Okay. All right. Next, does anybody else have any topics that they, okay, yes. Okay, over here.
Well, I'm pretty low level, so I'm thinking of how to make money.
How to make money, yeah? Okay, all right, very important question, how to make money. Let's put that up on the board too. To our hacker, let's put how to make money, okay? Next, over there.
How to go to space.
How to go to space, okay, excellent. To the hipster. All right, let's go and write down how to go to space. Any more questions? Any more topic ideas? Yes, okay.
So how to find lover?
How to find a lover.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, come and give a Richard Newton series talk. Okay, all right, how to find a lover. Okay, excellent, excellent, very good. Okay, any more ideas? Any more ideas? Okay, 1, 2, I'm looking for hands. I'm looking for hands. Okay, that's it, yeah? We're kind of dry now, all right? Okay, so here's the next step. Okay, this is good, but this is why I have an amazing team up here, right? Because we need to go a little bit further to answer this question. We need to go a little bit deeper because we only had, what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 responses, okay? So we're going to do a little bit deeper, and this is the next step. All right, to the next slide. How can we maximize the feedback that we're getting here? Yeah? You guys feel it? All right? So we only got feedback that represented about 5 people in a room of maybe about 200 here, okay? So what can we do to maximize the feedback? All right, this is where I have my amazing team up here to actually investigate. Okay, so do you guys have any ideas on what we can do to get more feedback to the hustler?
How to have more feedbacks? Make a form, like a quiz, which would be like interactive, so people would be interested to
Make a form. What do you guys think? Is that a good idea? Yeah. Okay, great. How are we going to design the form?
I think you can use like a gamified version, like a Kahoot.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. And after we get the form, how do we store the data?
We can store the data in Google Sheets. Don't make it simple.
Okay, and after we put it in Google Sheets, where can we process the data to get deep insights about what our users want to do?
I mean, you can use ChatGPT to be honest.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. Let's see, do you guys have assistants? Your nominees are probably your assistants. Would they be able to bring your laptops up here? And would you guys be able to whip up a form and get everyone to use it and connect it to Google Sheets?
Sure.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to send our team back over to start building this, and I'm going to just start kind of talking in air for a second, okay? All right, so, yes?
Question.
Yeah.
We actually do have a form that we use for this class.
Oh,
but I
okay.
don't know if you want to use that.
Hustler, come over here. Okay, all right, great question. Let's get everyone back. Okay, let's get the hipster working on creating the form. Let's get the hipster and the hacker to work together over here so that if we need to call you back, we'll be able to find you real quick. Let's ask the hustler here. What should we do? Should we use the existing form or should we build a new one?
I mean, the existing form is obviously easier.
Okay.
But the subjects are not related to the one we have, so.
Okay, all right. So would we need to adapt this form in order to get higher audience participation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is a customization attempt, okay? We are going to have this team here find out everything you guys are all thinking through a custom form that will be built according to what we think you guys will do in order to get feedback, okay? Now, remember what I said in the very beginning? Our first commitment is to give feedback when asked, okay? So we're going to make this easy for you guys to give feedback here, all right? So these two will work on the feedback form, and then we're going to proceed to the next step. But in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll kind of look forward a little bit at the next one while they work on this. Shall we? Sound good? Okay, all right. Let's see how quickly our team can actually punch this out, right? All right, so what we're looking to do is this, right? After we get this feedback, we're going to have, does anybody know how many people are in this room? No?
Well, there's probably by about 200.
About 200, okay. It's about 200. 200 feedback forms is a lot to read through in a short amount of time. Would you guys agree? Okay, so if we try to go through it one at a time, what would probably happen?
Would be too long.
It'd be too long, right? So that comes upon essentially the complexity of actually doing things in small versus at scale. When you're doing things, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at a time, you have essentially the luxury of going in depth for each particular item. But if you have lots of feedback now being gathered, right, that's going to make the problem a little bit harder to solve using traditional means. This is why we need to start using the hacker over here, to find a way to aggregate everyone's data without losing the detail and also the, let's say, specificity of these particular topics, okay? Now, okay, now we need a supervisor. Let's see if I can supervise over here. How's it going, guys? Oh, yeah?
We're picking up from these 5 questions.
Oh, no, you're picking up a form such that people can put in whatever question they want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, all right. That's
cool.
Yeah, using Google Form is fine. Okay. So in the meantime, while the team is designing this, we are coordinating right here through, I guess, supervision, you could call it, right? We're figuring out what they're doing, they're asking questions, and we're having a good relationship here on this feedback. Okay. Now, I got to stall for a little bit while they finish. Okay. All right, I'll go into this one while I buy some time for the team over here. Who wants to actually understand about how to improve the Airbnb experience? Raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay. All right, who wants to know about how to improve life? Raise your hand. Okay, all right, that's a popular subject. All right, who wants to know how to make money? Raise your hand. Okay, about the same. And who wants to learn how to go to space? Raise your hand. Okay, a little bit fewer. And who wants to figure out how to find a lover? Raise your hand. Okay, all right. So it seems like the work-life balance is an important question for most of you guys here, right? Am I learning something from the audience? Yeah? Okay. I'll try my best to go into this topic while we get this data thing sorted out, yeah? But, oh wait, I have a question. Here, I kind of have a bubble thing. Okay, let's go to the hipster. How will you distribute this form when it's ready?
I think we can turn it into a QR code and make people scan it.
Okay, all right. Then we need to arrange for the screen sharing later to have that QR code. Okay. All right, I'll talk about how to, let's say, make money. Does anyone want to hear about that, how to make money?
Yes.
Okay, by doing this. Yeah? You have to go and you have to talk to your potential customers. I think that's one of the hardest things that, as let's say a graduate at Berkeley, that I had the hardest time adjusting to. So when you work and you study here in school, you don't have to hustle as much because for the most part, everybody is in a safe environment. They owe nobody any financial or any obligations. So this particular environment to learn how to actually make money can be difficult. And it can be one of the hardest things to actually transition to when you actually go out into the real world. So the aspect of, I think, actually making money is, unfortunately, it seems like a dirty word these days, but it's, you need to sell. You need to find a way to sell. You need to find a way to get somebody to exchange the time and effort that they use to acquire money and hand it over to you. So that, I think, once you understand that unit principle of how to sell either your time, your skill, your product, then you can be on your way to, let's say, going to the next part, which is how to improve your life. In my early days in Bali, I had a terrible life, right? Well, maybe I had a good life. It was a Maslow pyramid that was really skinny at the top. It was really skinny. It was like, you know, like not a lot of survival, not a lot of comfort, but there were higher order things, okay? So I think each person's life is a very personal question. It really depends on what you want to focus on first. The first thing I chose, ironically, to focus on was lifestyle. I don't know if that actually makes any sense, but when I came out of Berkeley, fortunately, I had been working. I didn't have that much student debt, as I know many of you are facing these days. So I was not going to go and downgrade my lifestyle after having quarter-life crisis. You come out of college, you're used to having like so many friends, so many access, and then all of a sudden, you're stuck in a cubicle for 8 hours a day. So I said, whatever I do, I need to enjoy what I do every day in order to get to the next day. Oh, is it ready? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Hopefully that stalling tactic worked, yeah? Okay. All right. Thank you for getting the questions up. We're going to now take a look at our product. Now we've invented a product. All right. There is a lesson up here. All right. That is the QR code. It's well designed because it's simple. All right, if you will, if everybody will please scan this QR code and answer the simple question of what topic would you want us to talk about, okay? What topic do you want to hear? What topic is important to you? Please use your Berkeley email. Oh, wait, the hipster needs to tell you.
Please use your Berkeley email fixes.
Is anybody in?
Oh, okay, we're getting feedback. Okay, so give us the feedback. Here.
Too much friction. Make sure like do it with the Gmail instead of Berkeley email, so we don't have to do that.
Noted.
Okay, all right. Do you want to be our designer? Okay, come on. You can be our design advisor. All right. We got another hire. What's your name? Tret. Okay, come on up. Okay, Tret will be here too as well because since we're getting feedback, we should add him into this team. Okay, so now you guys have formed a team now. You guys have communication, so we'll continue going on that. Okay. Any other feedback for our new product? Does anybody else have any feedback about this QR code? Yes, sir.
Tiny URL would have been faster. Just write it on the board.
Tiny URL would have been faster. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I'm trying to classify that. What's your background?
I'm an engineer.
Engineer, okay. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm watching that right now. Trying to see if adding another person would add or detract.
Not that kind of engineer.
Okay. Josh.
So you made an open-ended form
Mm-hmm.
that says what questions do you have for us.
Right.
But because we already have some to select, it might have been a little bit easier to have multiple choice for all of these with another other option.
Oh.
Once you go to see like how many people picked, say, improving Airbnb experience.
Right.
Like someone might have said just Airbnb or improving Airbnb. How are you going to know that those are equivalent if you didn't like provide a selection?
Excellent. Okay, we're getting more feedback. Very good. Not only are we getting feedback about what topics that we want to hear in this lecture, we're also getting feedback about this particular product to harvest topics as well. Does anybody else have any feedback? Yes? No? Okay, please continue filling out the forms, and let's see. Okay, do you want to, okay, now tell us what you guys are working on over here.
Currently, we're categorizing the data, and then we'll figure out which one is most popular via voting, because we're in the USA.
Okay. Is there any way to pass this into ChatGPT to figure out any analysis about commonalities and threads? Okay, good. All right, we'll let them continue there, okay? All right, while this is being harvested, let's go back. Everyone scan the QR code so far? All good? Okay, yeah? If you haven't scanned it yet, just scan it, and then I'll move on to the next section there, okay? All right.
So I think about 50% so far scanned that QR code.
Oh, okay, so we have impartial. It's okay. We'll keep on doing. Entrepreneurs have to listen hard. Okay, so, right, we're going to skip over this slide because there's going to be a delay to processing this feedback, and we'll go over to the next slide, okay? All right, so once the feedback is actually collected, then I'm ready to reveal the magic moment. Are you guys ready for the magic moment there? Yeah? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, remember at the very beginning, this was the mission, right? The mission was to be innovative and helpful, being invited to speak again, and then earning more 5-star reviews. Now I changed it to Uber and DoorDash, yeah. Okay, but what have we really done here in this process? Let's go to the next slide. You're already experiencing this process of being an entrepreneur. So the first stage is about leadership. And I think the primary thing that most people don't really understand about leadership is we need to bridge that gap. I'm a speaker up here in the front. You guys are part of my large audience, but at least now I have a team here that some people have already nominated to work with everyone in the room, okay? So leadership is not about I need to be the solo person. Leadership is about sharing power, sharing responsibilities, and activating people to also work under pressure. That's the first example that we've experienced today. You guys feel it, right? Okay. The second thing is that your product is also your marketing, meaning that you are actually in this process of building a product by listening to what your users are experiencing. Listening deeply, and we're going to get to using the data and AI part, and then the final part is taking risks, okay? So let's go into a little bit more detail over the magic of each section. All right, let me ask, has this experience been helpful for everybody to actually understand entrepreneurship in a realistic way? Does anybody have, okay, over there, yes sir.
Yeah, I have seen it work out and I practice it as well.
Go ahead.
It's been very useful.
Okay.
However, when it comes down to practice, there is always that element of if everybody will work about the same.
Mm-hmm.
And there will probably be, that kind of, I would say, difficulty working in a team.
Okay.
Because one will work more than the other. And
Right.
it becomes a little bit of a hassle.
Are you speaking about in terms of on the team or on like different products?
I would say in both.
Okay.
Because, like in their case, if you notice, they also have issues communicating.
Right.
I think communication is probably one of the hardest things.
Ah, yes. Okay. Let's go back here and see what we can apply to examine this little experiment here that we have. Yeah. So, okay. How are we doing?
We're chilling. I think we've categorized some of it. I think he's doing Google Forms, so like.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We showed you Google form now in less than 5.
Oh, okay. So we're publishing a next Google form. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, did anybody not scan the QR code? Okay. Here's our thing. If we published a new QR code, would you guys scan it? Yeah? Okay, let's try that, right? Because entrepreneurship oftentimes is about making mistakes, but then failing fast and recovering from those mistakes, okay? So I'm here in front of all you guys demonstrating essentially a function. I picked these guys out. We didn't have any particular conversation before, and we're fixing it on the fly, okay? Who's ever heard of the analogy of entrepreneurship as like jumping off a cliff and then building your airplane before it hits the ground? You guys heard that before? This is how we do it. Okay, good. So our version 1 product didn't really work. Let's go pivot to our version 2 and see if we can get more substance, okay? All right. So, Mr. Designer, Designer 2, is it ready yet?
Getting there, you're going to stall a little more.
Okay, all right. Okay, gotta buy him more time. Okay, in the meantime, let's go over to our hacker over here and look at what the analysis shows at the moment, yeah? Are we ready to screen share that?
And do you want to make it a requirement for?
Sure. Tell people your process.
So right now we're in the process of analyzing the data right now. We categorize all the response into like 5 of them, and then we are trying to improve our solution right now and doing another Google form, which is be easier and more clear.
Okay, so we're reaching the second iteration. Should we do this, Mr. Hustler? Should we show everybody what has already been seen so that our users can see our current work? Or do you want to wait to reveal the final analysis to everyone?
I mean, if we talk about that class, I mean, if we're running out of time, we should, just show what we have now.
Yes.
But if we could have more time, obviously we can wait.
Okay, let's do this, right? Let's show everybody, I think, what we've actually done, so that way we can sense what the room feels before we pivot to the next product. Would that be a good idea? Yeah? Okay, all right. So let's do this then. So let's go ahead and do this. I'll coordinate this, okay? Oh, the next QR code is up, but in sequence. Let's do this. Can we bring the QR code and split it on half the screen so that whoever wants to give the new feedback can? And then can we share the analysis on the other half of the screen? Yeah? Okay, all right. That will allow us to work in parallel. That way we can still get that good stuff there. Okay, is this making sense now? The process in which we're going through. Okay, all right. Let's present. All right. Who hates this experience right now? Nobody, good. All right, let's continue. Okay, QR code number 2 has gone up. QR code number 2 has gone up. So this is just for the folks that actually have not scanned on the first time, okay? So we're issuing an improved product for you, okay? So please scan on this time and let's try to raise that audience participation to as high as possible, okay? All right. Okay, since this is Berkeley and not Stanford, I figure like about 10 seconds is enough, yeah? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. Now let's go over to the analysis and show everybody what we discovered on the first analysis, okay? All right. All right, let's see. So on the topic, oh wait, let's give it to our data analyst here, data scientist here, to announce the results. Here you go.
Okay, so there was like less people who did like the love category, but the main questions were like how to find a lover. I mean, do you guys want an answer to that or like?
Oh no, that's a topic. That's a topic. That's a topic. It's okay. We do. You'll watch.
I think he has something planned. So like, you know, like y'all gotta wait. Okay, next one, life. So a lot of you guys said like, improve my life, please. You didn't like have like. Okay, so you're like, everyone out the window. I need to improve my life. Go to that real quick. How can I stop scaring myself out of doing things? How to be more confident? How do I life max? So that life max is a big question. How do you stay motivated? Alright, you just stay motivated. Work-life balance. How to get friends to stop drinking. See, like, I mean, if they want to do a 5-day bender, they're going to do a 5-day bender. Who's trusted job?
Okay, good. Continue.
Funny. A lot of you said how to make money. One of you guys said, like, how to not be replaced by AI as a software engineer. Just work with them. How to make money. Sell me this pen. I think one of the new series did that. I swear they did that. How to get an internship. How to get a job in this economy. How do we sell? How to ace a job interview. How can one smartly go through post-grad job opportunities, all almost equally desirable and navigate through to finalize? That's a good question.
Okay.
I'm a question scholar.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. Okay. Excellent. Let's bring the hustler over and let's convene this thing. Okay. Now we have a really interesting problem here. We have too much feedback, right? So we need to kind of condense and narrow this down. What should we do?
I mean, we did another form.
The form, yeah.
And
Okay.
the new form is very much simpler, so the data would be more easier to analyze.
Okay, so we're going to simplify the form and then ask our audience to read. Okay, stay there. You're good. Okay, let's also offer another option. Do you have any other ideas? Does anybody else have any ideas out there for what we can do to process this vast amount of feedback already without adding more feedback? Does anybody have an idea? Yes, with the glasses. Yes. Group by topics. Okay, good. All right, we can do that. Any other ideas in the room? Group by topics? Any other ideas? Okay, that should be pretty simple to actually organize, right?
Maybe like even raising hands, like, you know, for each topic.
Okay. Well, we have to group by topic first before we raise my hand. Okay. All right, let's do this. Okay. All right. So it seems like the team over here is racing back and forward. And this is an interesting dilemma that you'll face when you're actually building new products, okay? Do you improve the existing product through, let's say, data and AI, or do you issue a new product in this case, okay? So, Mr. Hacker here, all right. So let's get you over here and let's simplify the existing data that we have already. Would it be possible to put this through ChatGPT and organize it by topic, okay? So that we can kind of see this from an executive point of view, all right? Okay, good. So, question, have those of you who haven't given any feedback done so with the new QR code yet? Yes? No? Okay, did anybody see any improvement on the second feedback form? Yes? Okay, good. We're making progress. We're making good progress, okay? All right, so our hacker here will compress the information, organize it by topic, and then we will merge both the first feedback and the second feedback together, and then categorize again, okay? So we're going to work along with this, this room here. Oh, wow, okay, so are we looking now at the second feedback or the first feedback?
Second feedback.
Second feedback, okay, so we're skipping over. All right. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it now. Okay. It's all about that prompt. Is there a word for somebody who's really good at prompting? Prompt engineer. Okay. All right. Not like a prompt Jedi, prompt ninja, prompt rock star. Okay. Prompt skater. Okay. All right. Based on this new data set, this is a quantitative phase. Please categorize into more organized and lean manner. Okay. Boom.
So can you turn it down, the light down, so we can see it a little bit?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So, thank you, coordinators. You guys probably are coordinating far faster and frequently today. Okay, I do need about a 20-minute warning just in case, yeah, because there is a little bit. Am I good? 30. Okay, good. Okay. All right. I'll show you what we have. Okay. I think so. It's all about the quality of the prompt now, isn't it? Okay, all right, let's hand it over to the hacker and see what would you like us to see.
Okay, so it has definitely slowed it down. A lot of you said a 4.9 on average for life, a 4.5 for money, 3.1 for love, 3.0 for space.
Oh, here, we need the designer here. Mr. Designer, okay, come sir.
And not very much for other.
Okay, what's the design problem here? It's too small to see, right? Can you guys see that? Okay, all right, so let's, sorry. Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right, there we go. So can everyone see that now? Yeah, all right, so everyone cares a lot about life, money, less about, mediocre about love, space, and then Airbnb. Okay, all right. So I guess I'll take about 5 minutes to talk about life, yeah? And it seems like that's what you guys really want to know. Let's see, what can I say about life? Life is such a broad topic. Here, let's bifurcate a little bit, okay? Since you guys are a part of SCET, all right, you're in the Sutardja Center Entrepreneurship and Technology classes, how many of you really want to be an entrepreneur? Like that's your only choice. Like it's entrepreneurship or die. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. How many of you want to, 5. Okay. How many of you want to get a job before becoming an entrepreneur? Okay, majority. Okay. How many of you are just taking this as kind of like a curiosity and really just want to work for somebody else? Okay. All right. So here's my life advice that I would share. So it's ironic and it's a bit also, I guess it's a conflict of interest since I am an entrepreneur, but I do also have people who work for me, okay? But I would say that if you're going to be looking towards work, it's going to be a big part of your life, right? And I think one of the things that is a consistent myth that I've seen a lot of people graduate with is this. They believe somehow that entrepreneurship starts only after you get some experience. Entrepreneurship actually starts after you work for a company. But I can safely say this to everybody. Most companies are designed to retain you. Yeah? Even my own, okay? So most companies are not designed for you to take your knowledge, wisdom that you've gained working in there and start your own business and compete with the business that you've actually worked for. If you don't believe me, then, okay, how many of you here are more on the technical side of knowledge, like you're engineers, scientists, that, okay, all right. How many of you are more on the artsy side of the world, like managerial, human, psychology, that type of thing? Okay, all right. Have you noticed that it is generally not very common to see people who are technical to get along with people who are non-technical? Like technical people form their own tribe, and non-technical people form another tribe. Kind of seen that, right? If you wonder why, it's because most organizations, most tech companies are designed that way. They're designed not to actually encourage too much intermingling between the people who build things and the people who sell things. Like if our hacker and our hipster and our hustler all got together, then they would be on their way to forming a startup already, right? And what would be the point of that if I'm Google or Facebook or any of these companies to actually breed a startup program within my own organization? So you do need to understand that there is pitfalls with actually your entrepreneurial dreams if you do want to be an entrepreneur, if you do set off in that pathway. Oftentimes after a few years, you get sort of in a financial situation where it just becomes too comfortable to leave the organization, okay? So that first step actually does have a lot of impact on what you're going to do next. My first step was I was just going to go travel, right? And once, my travel was not luxurious. I was sleeping in hospitals. I was sleeping on the beach sometimes. I lived on $2 a day, sometimes $0. I got by asking for help. Okay, so, but I did want to actually experience life through that means. So I would say that that's your first decision. That's pretty important. The next thing is who you fall in love with, I guess, right? So I picked love basically kind of by luck. And I didn't really believe in luck at the time I was in Cal, because luck is something that is probably not bankable. What you believe in is hard work. You believe in executing. You believe in getting things done. And for love, it was just, I met somebody in a gift shop, right? And they became the person I was married to for 20 years. So I don't know. Take a chance on love. I think it doesn't need to be necessarily a well thought out process. People told me I shouldn't have children. People told me I shouldn't be so rash. But I look at all those people now and they're not so happy with their love life as I am. So I think that sort of worked out. Okay, so those are my life lessons on love and money. Money part, let's continue where I was saying before. This is the hard fact about money. You're either going to be working for one boss who pays you a salary, and that person is your primary person, your primary client. You're really going to have to understand them. Vicky was just talking earlier about these ideas of getting yes, managing your manager. Those are really advanced skills. If you learn those skills, then maybe you don't need to do all this product marketing. You just need to manage one person, okay? But otherwise, you do need to have a way of understanding how to harness, let's say, money from the ether, from the cloud, and get people to pay you. And that often means sales. It often means that you have to go out of your comfort zone, into somebody's home, into somebody else's comfort zone to approach them, okay? So that's my immediate 3 personal points about love, money, and life. Okay, that's it for now. Now, okay, hopefully I have enough time now so we can take a look and see what the new analysis shows. Okay, Mr. Hacker, what do we have here? Oh, do we have any new analysis or any new charts showing the second round?
I think they were.
Oh, they're working on it. Okay, all right, let's go over here. Okay, all right, round 2. Let's see, where's the data?
We're in the final stages of the third and probably final Google form. It'll be actually recommending books to you guys.
Oh, wow.
Your specific pain points of trying to find love, how to become an entrepreneur, or even how to fix or build a startup.
Okay. Excellent. So you guys created a third pivot. Wow. I didn't even expect that. This is a good team. It's self-generated. All right. So last call, I guess, right? So as soon as that form is done, we'll put that up again, and we'll ask you one time again to fill out the feedback. All right. Let's go back to the, I guess, my slides now, and then I'll continue on. Yeah?
You want to go back to your slides?
Yeah, if possible. Yeah.
I'm going to actually ask everybody to do something right now. And right now with the mission, excuse me, thank you so much.
And maybe you'd like to someone else.
Sure.
With the mission to build the best lecture. This is the picture I would like you all to take right now that you will upload to the feedback form tonight, and that's what's going to be credit. Here we go. To build the best lecture. So take a picture of that, and I'll give you the code a little bit later. That's going to be what will give you credit for the lecture.
Okay.
Here you go.
Okay. Thank you, Vicki. All right. Whoa, we're building, you see, guys? Everybody has to participate in order to build. It can't be just one way. Okay. Is everyone done taking this? You all good? All right? Okay. Funny, we use the same management techniques in Indonesia too as well. Everyone has to, scan in. All right, let's go to the next slide. Whoever has my clicker. Okay. So here's the thing too. After we've actually gotten this survey and we understand the room better, do you guys think that in the future, when, let's say, Vicky and the Newton series looks for future speakers, there is some insight now on what topics you guys care about? Yeah? So maybe these were not fully expressed, or you like that? It can be, because that's what people want to hear about. So this is part of the plan, because the punchline is, next slide. Well, if I know what you guys want to talk about, then maybe I'll also be invited back to give a talk, right? Because it's all about essentially that engagement. If we know what our customers want, if we know what our users are actually seeking, then we can always hit the mark. We can always make sure that what we're talking about actually fulfills. Okay, next. All right, so just to kind of bolt down the final points here. On leadership, I'll walk around a little bit. I'm kind of board pacing here. I'll give these guys up here a little chance to see me too. On leadership, I think the most important thing is don't do it alone. When you actually approach leadership in a way such that you feel that you're isolated, you're not connected to everyone else, you just need to kind of go through this process of humbling yourself, right? And realize that asking for help is perfectly okay as a leader. In fact, it's expected, I think, as a leader. Next slide. Okay, if there is a lack of help, then offer rewards, offer incentives. Perhaps I should have waived a $20 bill or invited you to dinner afterwards. This can be a stall if you don't see anybody applying for a job or applying for positions. So you do need to make it clear what your rewards and incentives will be. Next. Okay, if nobody really wants to help you, if nobody is answering the call, it could be a problem that your vision and your goal isn't clear or attractive or meaningful. And that's a time where you have to really think about, do you need to refine your vision and your goal? Okay? All right. So that's the takeaway on leadership. The next one is the takeaway on product is equal to marketing. This part is, I think, the fundamental failure point that many people have when they go about and they build things. I see hackathons, I see product camps, but they don't ask what the audience wants. They don't ask what the users, what they want. And when you build something that nobody wants, then you don't have any success. So, next slide. You need to win product market fit by talking to your customers. Get pre-orders, get sales beforehand. But everybody who's in this room right now can see I don't know what it feels like to be me. I don't know if you guys know what it feels like to me, but it is hard. Yeah? It's hard getting all this insight and all this data from people who are in the same room as you. So you can see how this particular process is a process that is also challenging by its own nature, but it's so necessary in order for you to achieve product market fit. Okay, next slide. But here's the consequence. Shyness means you lose. Shyness and the, let's say, inability or the unwillingness to talk to your customers, to ask what they need, to get this data. It either means you're going to have to hire somebody and give them half your equity to do it, or it means that you will release and build things that constantly fail, that don't work, that nobody buys, that nobody looks at, that nobody engages with, okay? So this particular part of, I think, being an entrepreneur is the most difficult part, but it's also the most crucial part in order to get that product market fit. So be bold. Okay, let's continue. Now, when your customers don't talk, when your customers don't actually, let's say, give you the feedback that you needed, like in the very beginning, you need to, as an entrepreneur, you need to pivot. You are not the main source or the main priority in anybody's life, okay? So what you do is you try to listen deeper. You try to get more into how to gauge that feedback. Next. So this is why we have local reps, right? We brought in now a team of people from your own class to help get us that closer contact. It is also why we are using observational data. The data that you are sending up through these feedback forms gives us a more clear picture on what kind of talk to talk about. Okay, next. And this is the data part. Data and AI are often these keywords and they're these buzz terms that we hear about a lot. But the real thing is that, what do we use data for? What is AI good for? Well, it's mostly to understand the people in this room better. It's mostly to understand what is the next recommendation, what is the next thing that we're going to need in order to craft a better fit, a better product for all our users to experience. So if you can get, let's say, this feedback constantly, if you can get qualitative and quantitative information without having to, let's say, pull all the time, then you should be able to, over time, create better and better products. You should know your customers better than they know themselves. Okay, next slide. All right, and this is one of the final takeaways. I took a risk today, right? Like I said in the very beginning, it's not easy doing this. This is an unconventional format. But in order for, I think, the entrepreneurial experience to really come across as being genuine, as authentic, entrepreneurship is always about taking risks and then figuring out the way as you go. Next slide. Okay, and here's a point to think about. Some of you mentioned this earlier, right? What happens if AI takes your job? Well, then the only response that you should have is, your job is not to make AI your biatch. Don't let AI take your job, because AI is a passive program running on a computer. AI is a computer. You're people, you're Berkeley grads. You have the spirit and the understanding and the capability to do amazing things, just like so many people who came before you have. So don't feel discouraged. Don't feel that technology is working against you. I would say that going to Berkeley, being here on this campus, is the place where people have learned to capture and utilize technology correctly for their purposes. So make technology your purpose. Make it something that works for you. All right. And also, as an entrepreneur, this part is a little bit tough because you're also going to be the only person who makes sure that you get paid, right? So always make sure you get paid. And here's a funny aside. So give me my reviews, okay? So I think when everyone goes home tonight, when you go home tonight, don't forget about this lecture, okay? Don't forget about your experience here. Do send up the reviews. I'll take all feedback, good, negative, whatever, along the spectrum. I'm also looking to learn too as well, okay? All right, let's see. This is unexpected, but we have maybe our third product up. So we're ready to stand and see how it goes?
Give us like 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right, I need to get some more time then. All right, cool. Let's go to the next slide.
15 minutes.
Oh. Oh, I still have 15 minutes. Okay, all right, so we have time for Q&A. All right, so this is the mission I live by. So when I started Bukit Vista almost 15 years ago, the goal was to inspire delight through hospitality innovations that positively transform our guests, our partners, and our employees. So hopefully this experience that you see today is actually my life advice of what you can do. If you can, as early as possible, find out what it is that the purpose of your life that gives you satisfaction, that finds your own love in the work that you do, then put it down, recite it, and it gives you a principle now. Now, every time you do something that you don't know why you're doing it, you know now. So my life's advice is make sure, it's a very difficult time to actually speak of it. You guys are probably very young, but if you don't have a mission in your life, if there's no one guiding principle that you wake up to every day and reminds you, oh, that's why I'm doing this, then it is kind of hard, okay? But if you can solidify and narrow it down to a single focus, then every day afterwards, the decades and decades that come after, will actually add meaning to that purpose, okay? All right, that's pretty much it. And once again, Sutardja Center of Entrepreneurship and Technology, if I understand correctly, was dedicated to Sahat Sutardja, whom I met, and was a great inspiration to myself when I was in Bali. So he recently passed away, and as in the previous case, I would like to dedicate this lecture again to him. So that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys. All right, and as an encore, let's see if we have that new form up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'll take Q&A. Well, okay, yes, Josh.
Right now, Josh, you don't get to ask a question.
Oh, okay, right. New askers. Okay.
Really? Okay, so what are we looking at?
All right.
The third version of our product, thanks to your guys' feedback, we're able to provide some direct links to products that will help you through meets and your pain points. It was interesting trying to tackle so many things specifically. While it's not the perfect solution, because it's not tailored to each of you individually, we figured that educating yourselves is an easy way to help these pain points. So that's why we selected books. Now, I believe personally I could consult some of you guys on some of these things, but it's very like one-on-one, so we did a one-to-many approach.
Okay, any feedback so far for the third iteration? Yes?
Let me fix that.
This is where we need the hustler to go out there and get you. Okay, well, what's your response? Here, let's get the. Try again. Okay, try again. Okay, as a hustler, you got to manage these situations. How would you manage that?
Don't worry, speak. The technical team just speaks.
All right, fantastic. Okay, good. All right, we'll wait for this, and then in the meantime, I'll take Q&A. Does anybody have any questions?
Come on up here for Q&A if you would mind. But I actually just wanted to thank you for your dedication. I also want to thank you for your audacity. I think that trying to talk about the art of telling a story, right story, with the right audience, is something that you demonstrated live with more audacity than any other speaker we've had. And I want to thank you. I also want to thank your team of 5. And I hope that reminds everybody of how important the team is. In fact, even more important sometimes than the product.
Yes, definitely. Okay, well, let's get the team in front of us, and let's take a bow together, right? We delivered a demonstration, and hopefully, go and get everyone to say that this was the best Richard Newton series, okay? All right, that's the hustler's job. Okay, let's take a bow. Thank you guys for coming up here and help me with the demo. Appreciate it. Okay, is it ready? Yep. Okay, good. Okay, I'll release you guys back to the seat again, and thank you very much for the dedication. All right, yes, question over there.
Hi, I'm Zainab. I'm studying energy engineering. First of all, thank you for a great lecture. I think it is one of the most interesting lectures I've ever attended in Berkeley. I'm not being nice. This is actually my honest opinion. Yeah, one of the things that you mentioned is approaching potential customers. Sometimes it can be overwhelmed, and also you need to find specific strategies to convince them. For example, like if you want to secure funding for your project or working with someone, do you have any suggestions on how to succeed in approaching customers?
That's an excellent question. I have one tip for anybody who's looking to understand how to get better with customers, okay? Spend more time with them. Spend more time with people who are your customers. Spend more time with people who are, let's say, similar to your customers. Because it does require for you to, after a while, be able to empathize like the way they see things. Your customers are not going to see things the same way as your friends see you, as your parents see you, as anybody else sees you. The hardest part is to go through with the mindset of, I'm going to try to get an A in front of my customer, right? Because you're used to seeing customers maybe as a professor. But your customers really are not there to be impressed by you. Your customers really, at the end of the day, just want to make sure that they see some value back in their lives, okay? Now, that value could be time, that value could be money, that value could be just one less thing that they need to worry about. It could be the emotional strain, but each customer is different. And so I think it would make a lot of sense to actually, this is an underappreciated art. It's the art of the sell. So in order to do marketing, which everybody wants to talk about marketing, right? We all want to do marketing. You kind of need to know what does the individual customer, the unit case actually understand. If you can understand one person, you can understand a demographic. If you can understand a demographic, then you're qualified to do marketing. But if you can't understand how a single person makes a decision, then your marketing is always based on guesses. So spend more time with your customers. I was very, very lucky in this stage of my career where I worked at Aman. I had a great mentor who brought me into his home on, I think, Wednesday and Friday nights for dinner, and he had billionaires sit on the table with him all the time, twice a week. So I basically got to hang out with people who were really, really wealthy. And I realized they don't think like everybody else thinks. So I got lucky because I was approachable, I guess, to this guy, and he thought he could have an anchor guest at his dinner party all the time. So I became that anchor guest. So the more time you spend with your customers, the easier it is. And trust me, if you are going to be listening deeply to your customers, they want you to also be in that place to listen to them. So spend time with your customers, okay? All right, great question. Let's get to another question. Yes? Yes, over here. Thank you, Zena. Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting you brought up how corporates and it's designed to, but I also noticed that you were at Airbnb, which you called your dream job, right before you started your own hospitality. So what was that like for you leaving what was that choice?
Oh,
What do you think?
okay. All right, I'm ready to confess here because I have, I'm at the age where secrets don't really do me much good. I got fired at Airbnb, actually. So that was my dream job, and they let me go. And I was really upset about that. I was so furious about that because Airbnb, I had put my love, attention. My wife complained that Airbnb was like my mistress or something. I spent more time at Airbnb than with her. And the reason was because I felt energized at Airbnb. They gave me unlimited budget to do whatever I want. I got to hang out with people who were the leaders of the industry. It was just so, one weekend I remember somebody came back and they said they spent the weekend with Beyonce and Jay-Z, which probably are ancient to you guys now. But this is the place I really want to be. But I was telling Vicky this just earlier. I realized that Airbnb has its own priorities. And I didn't know what those priorities were until I crossed the red line. And that is, Airbnb is a data company. And I accidentally was the result of a data leak, and they had to cut corners with me. So that was tough. I'd spent 15 interviews with Airbnb, I think, to get in. And it was almost a year of just dedication, 18-hour days getting back to work. So I finally realized that, the organization that is Airbnb is great, but after all, it serves its own purpose. And if you constantly find yourself that you're not finding any purpose because the organization that you're joining in is an organization you join in because you needed money, or an organization that you joined because of some other reason, then you will never find fulfillment in that purpose. Here's great news. I know many of you have student debts, and but you'll pay it off. Believe me, I paid off my student debt too, okay? But everyone here is in a very privileged position. You don't need a job. You can choose jobs. I know it's not that easy out there, but you can choose to actually go out there, raise money, be an entrepreneur. You can choose. I was a farmer for a point, right? When I failed, somewhere in between those two jobs over there, I became an acai farmer for a few months. It didn't work out, but I didn't put it on my CV. Yeah? But I kind of enjoyed it. We got some fresh air and got to hang out with my family and my family's family. So I think this is really important. I think you cannot really rely on a corporation, especially a corporation that has grown so much while you weren't there, to provide you a purpose that aligns you long term. So that's the way I see it. Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. All right. Cool. Does anybody else have any?
Yeah. Do you mind coming up or?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Yeah. Come on up. Come on up. Yeah. I don't bite. Okay. Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name is Asad Shahid. I'm a third year studying statistics and data science.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And one question I had was, what's one tip you've learned throughout your years in just developing, building stuff in terms of networking? Like, how do you approach new people and how do you stay connected with these people?
How do you approach people? How do you stay connected? That's tough. Okay, I think it has to come from inside. You have to like people. Now, I say that jokingly, and in some of you I see smiling, but here's one thing I saw with my mentors. The people who were my mentors, who were the best at dealing with people, they were gifted, they were magical. After a while, they got to hate people. Again, you might wonder what's going on there. Because people are simultaneously the most interesting, but also the most disappointing experiences in your life, okay? So it's interesting when I bring in people who are, let's say, like you guys, right? Just fresh out of college, and we nurture them, we bring them up. But it's disappointing when they decide to go off on their own path. We've invested so much time into them. Don't they appreciate, right? And I know that feeling too, because my mentors invested quite a lot in me before I started my own businesses too. So ultimately, I think it just really comes down to, do you want to be around people? Or do you prefer to be with your pet, right? Or with your toys, or whatever it is. And so that, I think, is a question every person has to just look inside and ask. People will be, I think, at the same time, the most interesting, but also the most disappointing. You can't, maybe it's love. Yeah, it's probably love, right? We were talking about love earlier. So with people, you can only experience love. If you really like them, you love them. But people that you love will always be able to bring the most emotional difficulty and pain as well. So if you're in it for love, I suppose that believe in a happy outcome, believe in optimism. But if you prefer working with more, let's say, deterministic outcomes, then get a pet, right? Because I think your pets will always love you unconditionally, whereas people might change their mind after a while. So that's it. And if you do have that love, then you'll see that people will be attracted to you as well. And that's my 2 cents. Hopefully that answers your question, yeah. Okay, in an abstract way. All right, I saw somebody with a green shirt up there. Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I really appreciate that you tell us to be bold than you actually are. So that's really good. Bold talk. Let's go. Yeah, my name is Romain. I study business as a degree and CS on the side. And my question is, you talked about how to find people that will help us building a project. How to find the right person to be the co-founder of our project and how to avoid the wrong person?
Okay, yeah, great question. I thought I was going to run out of time, but apparently I had more time than I thought. If you want to do a demo, I can show you that. Do you guys want to see how to do that? Okay, yeah? Oh, I have 5 minutes, okay. Does anybody have a question after this gentleman in the green? Okay, there's another question, and there's another question. Okay, all right, then I'll give you the explanation, okay? How you find a co-founder is 50% yourself and 50% the other person, okay? What you control is your expectations and your commitment to those expectations. What they control is their expectations and their commitment to those expectations, okay? So let me give you a simple example of how I hired incorrectly in the beginning and how I'm hiring better now. I used to hire people based on skill. This person's a software engineer, great. They can do the job, they're hired, okay? They're great at software engineering, better. I don't even care about that as much anymore. What I care about is, why do you want to be here? And I don't listen to their reason, I look at their history, okay? If the person that I want to hire inspires delight and enjoys positively transforming people through innovations, then that's the right person I want to be with, because that's already my mission, that's my purpose. And I check that all the time to see if every one of their actions is consistent with the mission that I had set forth. Those are my expectations, that's my commitment to those expectations. It might not be for everybody, but long-term wise, I think it's a pretty good investment, because the most destructive thing in any enterprise is pairing with people who have different expectations than you. So get that done early as possible. But I understand you might not have the luxury to have, like, say, a very, very high hiring bar in the very beginning. So just agree to, let's say, the next 6 months, right? In the next 6 months, we agreed that we're going to experience some adventure, like the way this experience is. It's going to be messy. We're going to enjoy the process. And if it works out, then we'll do it a little longer until we find out what our ultimate purpose is, okay? But what you control is your expectations. What you control is your commitment to those expectations. And that's how you find the best co-founders. And luck, too, as well. Okay, so that's 50-50. Okay, over there. But I could do a demo. I'm pretty good at hiring people now. I've done it, like, I must have done 10,000 interviews in my life. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Ashwin.
Hi, Ashwin.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation, Mr. Yang.
What
I'm curious about is, what's the greatest lesson your parents have taught you?
Oh, the greatest lesson my parents taught me. I think about this a lot. So I was raised by a single dad. My mom and dad were divorced when I was 2, so I never grew up with a mom. But my dad raised me, okay, all right, I don't know why I offered that. Okay, that's there, right? But my dad was he was an electrical engineer, so he was a real fan of history. And so later on I realized my grandfather was a historian. So my dad would always take me on walks every evening after dinner and tell me about history. He would tell me about this leader made this decision, and that leader made that decision, and this thing happened. And it was so boring. It was just the boringest shit to listen to. And he would ask me questions about, do I remember this historical figure? Do I remember that? And I was like, Dad, can we talk about something fun? Can we talk about something more interesting? But you know what? What my dad shared with me, I use all the time now, because I realized that particular knowledge had a purpose later on. So I think I was fortunate in that case. I think my dad was maybe preparing me to be a king one day, right? So he was implanting these stories earlier than I thought I needed them. But later on, when I look back on it, I go, I understand human-to-human strategy better than a lot of people because I've had, 3 decades to think about it now, which is a lot more than some people had. So that turned out to be, my father's appreciation for history really helped me out. I would say that, yeah, that was what my parents said. Okay, one more.
Hi, my name is Shri, and
Hi, Shri.
I'm a senior studying EECS.
Yes, EECS!
Towards the end, you mentioned having like a singular mission that you should really focus on and like think about like every day that you get up. And so I was wondering how you would balance having different focuses in your life, especially across like different areas, and especially for someone who's like young and has a lot of different interests that they really, really care about. Would you really try and prioritize sticking to one thing, or try and balance like 2 or 3 things?
Okay, that's a great question. So I'll tell you where I generated that mission statement from. And it was actually with the, I'll give his name. His name is Ron Lavoie. He was that gentleman I told you about earlier who had weekly dinners in his home. I was fired from Airbnb, so I didn't have a job. Or was it somewhere between? Okay, anyways, I was jobless for a section. So I reached out to Ron, and I asked him if he would continue to mentor me. And this was a very difficult moment because I had already left his mentorship, but I still saw him as a person who would advise me. And he agreed to meet. We had lunch over at the Ferry Building in San Francisco. And he asked me a simple question, and I couldn't answer it. It was like, Jing, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be an engineer. I want to do this. He's like, I don't believe you, right? What do you really want to do? And then I walked away from that meeting feeling a little bit weird. And I felt weird because it was such a simple question, but I really didn't know. And not knowing bothered me. I was bothered for weeks. I was like, whoa, could I really not know what I want to do? And I think it starts with that, sir. I think it starts with being bothered by, do you really know what you want to do? And if you don't, it's time to start looking, right? And I'll tell you, it's a gift to be actually asked that question, because if you were not asked that question, maybe you won't be doing anything that you really wanted to do. Maybe you'll just be doing something that somebody else wanted you to do, okay? So the process of actually going through that is a deeply internal, deeply introspection process, but you're going to have to go through that yourself. You have to answer the question of what do you want to do? Because what you want to do with your time means that you don't get to do this. What you want to do is that prioritization. So I think ultimately focus leads to happiness. If your focus is distraction, then be an entertainer, right? Be in the distraction business. But you do need to, I think, at some point start figuring out what is the one through line that unifies all your experiences. I can see Vicky's going to give you the thing. Okay, all right, those are our best answers, okay? Thank you very much.